Dollars and cents. Bruce Porter's here, and we're going to dive into some of those fun financial topics right after this.
Putting the client first. That was my main priority some 20 years ago when I started the Resource Center, and it remains my priority today. That's why I wrote Finding the Courage to Retire, to help guide you confidently along a journey that should be the most rewarding of your life, from creating sustainable income and preservation strategies to understanding Social Security, Medicare, and much more. This book is the retirement roadmap you need. To get your free copy, just call or email our office today.
Hey, you know what, Bruce? I have seen a really cool sign here in town. It's over on Southern Bank, and they're advertising, I think, a 9-month CD at 5.66%. That's insane to me. That's crazy high interest rates. It feels like it.
Well, it is because
CD.
For 15 years, I mean, right after 2008, what did the federal government do? They kept interest rates
zero.
Basically.
Well, there for a while we were talking about a negative rate for savings accounts.
And we could dive into all the details, but I don't think that's necessary. I mean, it's pretty much a no-brainer when the government just says, hey, we're going to give everything away for free. So here's free money. So banks, if you need money, just call us. We'll call the reserve. We'll give it to you at pretty much 0.25 or 0%. And so that's why they can't pay a bank rate. Mm-hmm. And now all of a sudden, what have interest rates done? Because these buffoons give away trillions of dollars of cash. Mm-hmm. Now they've raised interest rates to try to hedge inflation. Mm-hmm. Well, you know, to us common people, what's that even mean?
You know,
they're raising it up to where we don't want to spend money.
It kind of feels like I'm in a car with an inexperienced driver who keeps overcorrecting, you know, and swerving from each side of the road instead of being able to drive it down the middle. Yeah.
And so what happens when that goes on, that type of poor economic planning, now CD rates are high, savings rates, money market. I've seen money market rates close to 5%. And we haven't seen these kinds of rates in 15 years. Now, again, they're going to possibly go higher. I think for the next 6 months, depending on what the feds do, we could actually see higher interest rates even from where we're at today. Because psychologically, here's what they're doing. And we cannot be basically, well, we need to stay informed. They're raising rates, and all the seniors and people that have got money in the bank are very happy right now because look at the kind of interest I'm getting. My government is taking care of me, right? So they're going to persuade them to vote the way they want them to vote. Now, right prior to the election, I don't know, maybe I'm wrong. It's an educated guess. I think prior to the election, they're going to taper rates to try to stimulate people to go buy houses, cars, washers and dryers.
Bump up the economy.
To stimulate economic growth. So they're teasing that higher rate right now for seniors and people with money, and then they're going to taper that off, which if you lock in a 1-year CD in March or April, that'll carry you through the election. Then right after the election, I think rates are going to come back down. They have to come back down because they have spoiled all of us into these low rates, and people are not spending money like they would if rates were a lot cheaper.
Now, you just mentioned a 1-year CD, and there's one thing that I think is important for people to understand when they're comparing CD rates, which is the term of the CD, because that rate is not the rate of return over the time period, the term of the CD. That's the annual percentage rate.
Annual percentage rate.
And so it doesn't, if you've got a 9-month CD that pays 5%, it doesn't mean you're going to get 5% in 9 months. It means you're going to get the equivalent of 5% over the year, but you can cash the CD in only 9 months.
After 9 months.
So I know it's been confusing for some people that I've talked to. They're like, well, I know that 5-year CD is paying 5%, but I've got to wait 5 years to get my 5%. No, you're going to get 5% a year every year for 5 years, compounded.
That's right. Compounded.
It's really, that's just, the term is just when you can cash the CD in without penalty. But you can compare the interest rates apples to apples without worrying about the term.
So I think we also have to go back historically and look at what rates have done. 1999, 1998, interest rates were around 6%. Mortgage rates were a little bit higher. And then what happened right after that? Y2K, the dot-com bubble, 9/11 happened a year and a half later. And so rates went down because the economy suffered, the markets decreased in value. So what do? The only thing they know how to do, they don't know how to develop strong economic planning, strong trade deals. They don't know how to do that. They are politicians. They tell us what we want to hear to get elected, and then they do the complete opposite. So now that we know that, just know that, hey, take advantage of the high rate. I would not lock in for 3 or 4 or 5 years. I don't know. I don't want my money, cash reserve type liquid money locked up that long. 6 to 12 months, 14 month CDs, things like that. Leverage these high rates right now, absolutely. Money market rates. If you're basically they're a glorified high interest checking account.
Sure, yeah.
Now, money markets are characterized by you can only have limited transactions. So you do not want to cash in or trade your checking account for a money market account just because you can get a 4 or 5% rate. Because if you can only write 6 checks a month, you're gonna mess things up.
Yeah. Unless you plan for it.
You could use a money market account for reserve cash, and then you could move money to your checking account as you need it. That would probably be a good idea. Then you can identify longer term. Longer term on cash is 1 to 5 years. Money you're not going to plan on needing for 1 to 5 years. Absolutely leverage these high rates.
You talked about the things that happened in the late 80s or late 1900s, back in the 1900s, and the dot-com bubble and all of that stuff. And you and I remember that. But we've got a whole passel of young voters like Peter here, who's 25, who was born in 1998, who doesn't remember any of that.
That's right.
And then you and I, we can remember back farther than that to the last time the Democrats were in control in the late 70s when we had interest rates of 18 and 19%. And
we had mortgage rates that high too, and we had inflation that high.
So you wonder why older people are more conservative and younger people are less conservative, because the younger people don't have that history of knowledge about every time the liberals get in control, they screw everything up without fail every single time.
Every single time. And when you have a corrupt environment in Washington, which we absolutely do,
it's just a money laundering scheme.
It's a money laundering machine.
It really is.
And you can't deny that. No one can. If we had all the politicians,
it takes about 3 minutes to explain it. If somebody really wanted to know, I can explain how Washington is nothing but a money laundering scheme in about 3 minutes.
That's right,
and we can follow the money.
And so, what they want to do, now. What are they going to do? We're going to get higher rates right now, right?
Yeah.
But also, come 2025. When the Trump tax code sunsets, that we've all been taking advantage of for the last 6 years now, when that sunsets and your income tax is going to go through the roof.
And nobody knows that.
Now, they deny it.
Well,
but they'll take care of us.
We sit down with clients and we tell them that, and you just watch their eyes get big. They don't.
Well, they're just glazed over. It's like, I don't think that'll ever happen. Okay, well, let's just sit back and watch, because you and I have been around a lot longer on the legal and the money side, and we're going to watch it.
Just historically, what is the highest maximum tax rate the United States income tax rate has ever had?
Oh, it's up there.
100%.
100%.
100% was the highest tax rate the United States has ever had.
And
it's been here.
We did perfectly fine for 175 years without any income tax.
Any income tax whatsoever.
And now we've got this corrupt environment. Show of hands. Do you think Washington is corrupt?
We don't have a studio audience, but
Okay.
I'll raise my hand.
All right. Yeah. Do you think they are honest, hardworking politicians that are out for our best interest?
A couple of them, maybe.
Are they servants of the people?
Generally
No.
not, no.
No. They become this elite.
You heard that old boy's new
It's
song?
it's very aggravating.
The Rich Men North of Richmond. You've heard that
Oh,
new
yeah.
song out
That's
there? Boy,
being
he
sung
nailed it,
quite a
didn't
bit
he?
right
he did
now.
a good job. Well,
So,
if you've got,
it is what it is.
If you've got questions or you need answers, give
Yeah.
Bruce a call at the Resource Center, 417-882-1800.
We'd love to get fired up.
If you know the rules, you can take advantage of the rules, regardless of what the rules are.
That's right.
So, give
Come
us
to
a
our
call.
workshops. We got some coming up in September.
Sure do. We'd be happy to help
We're
you.
having a good time doing that.
We
so,
really are.
Yeah.
But, thanks for watching. We'll be back next week with more Dollars and Cents.
Investment advisory services offered only by duly registered individuals through AE Wealth Management, LLC. AE Wealth Management and the Resource Center, Inc. are not affiliated companies. Investing involves risk, including the potential loss of principal. Any references to protection, safety, or lifetime income generally refer to fixed insurance products, never securities or investments. Insurance guarantees are backed by the financial strength and claims-paying abilities of the issuing carrier. This podcast is intended for informational purposes only. It is not intended to be used as the sole basis for financial decisions, nor should it be construed as advice designed to meet a particular need of an individual situation. The Resource Center, Inc. is not permitted to offer, and no statement made during this podcast shall constitute tax or legal advice. Our firm is not affiliated with or endorsed by the U.S. government or any governmental agency. The information and opinions contained herein, provided by third parties, have been obtained from sources believed to be reliable, but accuracy and completeness cannot be guaranteed by the Resource Center, Inc. This podcast is a paid placement.